develop that connection?
Can I start? I start?
Yeah. And how can you leverage that connection as if you end up being
Okay. Yes, I have connected with some alumni students when I first started my program, but mostly for a personal and professional relationship because I was interested in finance and I wanted to know if this would be a career path for me. So I connected with Devon and with Derek. And yeah, so one of them we went for a coffee and he taught me everything about selection process in finance, and the other one was in Chicago, so we had a call and he was telling me about the how is it to work in financial market and financial industries, and I thought it was very interesting to clarify how this different career path would be for me. And I also connect with many alumni on LinkedIn, and for this ones I didn't have a coffee or a call, but it was really nice to understand what they do, and some of them grew a lot in their career, so it was really interesting to understand what was their career path. So yes, those were a few people I have connected. And for how would I leverage these relationships for the program? I talked to Angie, and I saw that 20% of our class in career interest is in product development, and then this is the majority of the class career interest, and then we have finance and consulting and general management. So I think it's important as a VP of alumni relations to understand what's the interest of the people of our class and of the future classes, so we can really match these interests and bring people who are specialized on their different areas, and also people like me who was not sure if I would like to go to finance or not, and always have someone around that you can talk and clarify your ideas. Thank you.
So I've had the opportunity to meet our alumni through different alumni programming that happened here on campus, but also at National Black, actually. I got to meet Ron, and he's currently part of the IMBA program, and he works in Chicago and does government consulting. And I had the opportunity to kind of talk about not only his personal professional experience, but also his experience through that program, because it's not here physically. So what's the spirit and what's the feel of the program? But then also getting some pointers as an African American in the professional world. What are some pointers that I could take to help my career advance? And then I've also had an opportunity to meet a couple alumni who are currently in the consulting industry to figure out whether or not that's a space for me. And I don't know if you can tell yet, I'm all about inclusivity and empowerment. So getting the opportunity to talk to, let's say, Jessica, and talk about the consulting industry and how I can have a voice in that industry was definitely influential. So what can I do? I think leveraging some of the events that we have on campus or some of the conferences that we go to, and sometimes we don't realize that alumni are in attendance for their own personal reasons, but maybe hosting meet and greets at those events and getting people to really socialize in that way. I think those are some ways to leverage our alumni network.
So very much like these ladies, I've talked to several different individuals through a variety of mediums, whether it be phone calls, I've found them through LinkedIn, and established connections with someone like Aaron Newman from FCA, for instance, who was a little bit more up my alley because I was looking for an LDP style of career choice. But then I actually just connected with an IMBA, just like Mary has, because I think we have to utilize our entire alumni network and however that works. And his name's Jeff McFearlin, and he works up in Seattle. He's an entrepreneur, has been working there for about 8 years with his business, and I know that it's not the best connection for me in the sense of I don't have my own startup, but maybe connecting that with another individual in our class and making those connections as much as possible. So if that speaks a little bit more to Agnes is right on the point of that question, but I think that through a variety of mediums and events, you have a lot to work with. So there's the social media aspect. It's encouraging your classmates as well to, and even potentially providing coaching for those types of alumni interactions, because I reach out to alumni all the time and I feel very comfortable with it, but how can I leverage that strength as this type of position and help my classmates and help future students as well? So
in a nutshell, like in one word or in one line, what would be your strategy? Like, what would be the vision of your strategy when you're using alumni network in
it would be, thank you. For me, it would be two things. First is making sure you match these relationships with the career interests from the class. That's why I reached NG to understand what were the career interests for our class. And also trying to bring inspiring people that are not in the entry level, but that could give us their experience and inspire us to get there in very high leadership positions.
I guess I would just second that. I think there's two approaches. One is to obviously increase the career development conversations. Having the small networking sessions, meet and greet sessions, but then also to increase the entrepreneurial spirit that we all came here for. So providing our class. Providing our class exposure to industries that we probably didn't even know existed, or people who have done something that's completely out of the box, and try to get us more excited and maybe want to go into that industry or partner with that place. So those would be my two approaches.
And I have two approaches as well. The first is very much like my colleagues here in the sense that it's going to be working on those partnerships per individual in our class. And I think that that's really important and something that our alumni want to do and engage with. But I think part of this position as well is informing the alumni. And a big step of that is talking about what's going on in our program and how can they give back to that side of things. It's not necessarily monetary. It could be with an experience. It could be with a phone call. It could be with a think tank session on how should this go for our program and moving it in the future. And I think that this type of position can start those types of dialogues, and it's a central focus of what it needs to be is that reach out to the alumni as well, not just for help for us, but to help them as well. Keep them informed.
And this is not just to pick on an area. I just find it interesting when people run for multiple positions. So, for those of you who are running for multiple positions, where does your passion lie? And if you could only choose, if you were elected to all of the positions, and you could only choose one, which one would that be and why?
I have to answer it too, so you're fine.
Oh man. Most of you guys know me. I have a passion for people and connecting with people, but also a passion for using that from a technology perspective. So for me, I'm passionate about both positions. That's why I put my hat in the ring. It's really hard for me to pick which one I would go more to. Obviously, social planning, I already have experience in that, and I know how to do that in my sleep. But I think alumni relations gives another challenge. It's kind of taking me a little bit out of my comfort zone, and really having to do the reaching out and creating that environment where our class feels that they can reach out and connect with alumni, but then the alumni feel the spirit and the feel of the school while not being here. So take your pick. Both of them.
I think for me, it comes down to my strengths as an individual, and it's a case of know thyself. And I feel like that I am really good at making genuine connections with individuals, those in the room, those that I haven't met yet, those that I have in the past. And that's why both of these positions are interesting to me, because I've done a role like this in the past as an alumni secretary for my fraternity, and then at the same time with a role that was very similar as the part of that alumni board, so facing from the other direction. So I feel like that's where my passion for this for this position specifically comes from, because I have had experience in the past, and I think that connectivity aspect of me as an individual is screaming right now, because I love to walk up to random strangers and introduce myself, and see how they're connected to the whole puzzle. So I think that's why this position specifically. I mean, I'm running for president as well, because I think that both of these roles are so critical in that connectivity aspect. Especially the presidency has a much more overall value and shape and scope to that. That this position is part of that legacy that you build, but at the same time, I'm running for president. I'm choosing president, but this is just up my alley as well. So I think that connectivity aspect is in both. So why not?
I didn't answer that question. I guess I would say alumni relations, just because it's something that would be challenging, but in a good way. Again, it's about connecting with people, but creating that connection here on campus, but then also globally. Alumni relations and having their interaction with the school, giving back and giving their time is actually a really big part of the ranking system. So I think it's definitely something that's not just important to the school, but should be important to us as well. So I think I would definitely say alumni relations.
Thank you. So I was in between programs and alumni relations, and actually I chose to run just for alumni relations because actually I was in between both because I'm really passionate about connecting with people, and I think one is more connecting internally and the other one is more connecting as externally. And also as an international student, I thought it would be really nice to connect with this alumni network worldwide, and I think it's such an important, the alumni relations is such an important asset for our program specifically because other universities, sometimes they have a very big brand, but our university has this huge alumni network that we really need to know how to connect with. And I thought it was so strategic for the whole program that's why I chose this one. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. I know that was a tough question. I appreciate your answer.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, guys.